You're listening to WCRX-lp, Columbus, Ohio, 102.1 FM, the broadcast radio service of Bexley Public Radio Foundation.
Now the Joe Contino Show on Bexley Public Radio.
It was, I wouldn't say predictable, but I thought I was worried about yesterday's game. But when they went up 17-16, I still felt they were going to blow it. There's an intangible between winning and losing. I mean, there's something about some teams. They're going to, the Browns, unfortunately, they're part of that. They're good. They got plays. They could win. They score. But when it gets to these close games, there's certain things that got to be done. I mean, you see the Eagles with the Giants. Those fumbles aren't only just the plays, the Giant plays fumbling. The Eagles are clawing at that ball. Two guys grab a guy, two other guys just claw at the ball. They just make it happen. Very physical, very intense. This is the way they play. That's the way you have to play.
They're playing.
You go out to win. You want to.
They're obviously playing. They're obviously playing to win the game.
Play to win the game. And, I see it all the time. I watch these games. You see the winning teams at the end. They're the ones that they make that play. Like yesterday, Sanchez against the Houston. Now, what a terrible loss. It hits Braylon Edwards on it with 10 seconds to go, and then he hits San Antonio Tomes in the corner. That's it. Game over. And everything else is chit-chat.
Yeah.
I see them. Unfortunately, the one I was really shocked with, I think, was the game with the Patriots against the Colts. Manning was coming down. He was a field goal range. He was on the 20. And Peyton Manning, and he gets intercepted. That was a surprise to me. Because the Colts is one of those teams that know how to win.
Yeah.
But, that was a surprise to me.
Speaking with Sal Leonetti, you're listening to the Joe Contino Show. Sal, I really don't feel like talking about this, but we're going to be ended up talking about it all day, especially with Mule Nevelos calling in.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Browns. I looked it up earlier, and it has happened before where NFL teams are in the +5 or more takeaway category and they still lose. It happens about once a decade, and you saw it yesterday in Jacksonville.
6 times. Six. I think it was a 6, right?
Yeah, it was 6 takeaways minus the last interception, so +5. You should have had at least 3 points off of every turnover, that being 20 points right there.
Right. Well, they said -3 is 90% times you win. That's -3.
Yeah. 95% win ratio.
-3.
Yeah.
But what I saw happening, the play calling left a little bit to be desired.
Yeah, they kept. They were very stubborn. They stayed with that run like they did the first 3 games of this year, and they lost just like the first 3 games of this year. They kept trying Peyton Hillis. They were not willing to open it up until it was too late.
Well, you know better than me. I felt that Hillis, he's a the first couple of games he caught up the league by surprise. Now the league knows him, so they're going to load up the box for him. So they're going to put the burden now on McCoy. And McCoy, who's got talent, I think he's the keeper. He's going to be the quarterback of the future, still only in his 4th, 5th game. Now he's going to have to put a little more burden on himself. He's going to have to throw more. And
you're right.
You're right. They have the receivers that can make the passing game viable.
You're right. But, hey, Sal, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me, remember when Derek Anderson came off the bench?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, no one's preparing for you.
Right.
When you come off the bench, no one's prepared. But when they figured him out, I mean, there's so much tape on him now, it's not even funny. And as you see in the Arizona Cardinals, they have figured him out. I mean, he is, unless you can overcome that, it's not going to be pretty. Another thing the Browns did that I think was a severe misstep, they had Seneca Wallace warming up because I think on the first couple minutes of the second half, Colt McCoy got hurt.
I remember.
And they decided to keep him in the game.
It cost them a timeout also.
Yeah, they decided to keep him in the game.
Yeah.
So Seneca Wallace in there, a lot more mobile, a lot more healthy.
I always wonder how a second-string quarterback feels when the guy who's in there is really limping around. Does that mean he's better than him limping? I mean, that's always. I always wondered about that.
Yeah, Seneca Wallace was asked
or run around and you're on the bench healthy. You. I got to think the second-string quarterback is better at that time than the first-string quarterback was hurt. Just get him out of there for a few plays anyway.
Yeah, Seneca Wallace was asked in the locker room why he felt like he wasn't put in, and he shook his head, obviously looked disappointed, and said he didn't get it. He goes, "Man, I don't get it." So. Very discouraging for him, very discouraging for Cleveland fans. I personally think the outcome might have been different, Sal, because your game plan is just going to be different by nature because he is such a different player. So the play calling would have been different just based on the very fact Seneca Wallace was even in there.
Well, I've noticed that the one thing around the league, and Manning, Al Manning, Manning, they're not very mobile in the pocket or as a quarterback. Once they get flushed out, they're not very mobile. They're prone to get sacked, or they don't really pass that well on the run. And I see there's more and more of these quarterbacks, even the ones that aren't that fast, but they're very mobile within the pocket.
Yeah.
And then you got the Roethlisberger guy who you can't knock down anyway if you get to him because he's so big. And I think you have to, as Victor did last night, they extend the play. That's important, extending the play. And if you're not mobile, you're not going to extend the play.
And if you saw a couple of those highlights, Sal, speaking to Sal Leonetti, you're listening to the Joe Contino Show. Last night in that competition between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Giants, it is truly a game of inches.
Oh, without a doubt.
Tuck was within a couple inches of knocking the ball out of Vic's hand when Vic handed it off to McCoy for that huge touchdown run.
Yeah, the one he juggled. He juggled the snap.
Yeah.
The fella had I think it was Unamura. I think he was on the other. He had his hand out, and it just missed his hand by 2 inches, if that much.
And if you look at the replay, very closely, it looks even closer than that. I mean, I
was watching with my daughter, and I says, I think the gods don't want us to win this game. I mean, it's just the hands of fate.
Well, I'm a Browns fan, so you always feel that way.
This is not our game. Everything that was going to happen wrong, it happened.
Now, I'm usually not one that celebrates unsportsmanlike conduct, Sal.
Yeah.
But I will say what made my Sunday a little more enjoyable is seeing the rapist Ben Roethlisberger getting hit in the mouth by Richard Seymour.
Oh, yeah.
That was delicious, I must say. He was talking smack, just threw a touchdown, and Richard Seymour, and I'm sure a lot of other people about had enough of him.
Well, I bet you he was to Richard Seymour. I guess he's going to get a few dollars out of his pocket.
Oh yeah, he's going to be.
It probably makes him feel good. I mean, he just have to do it once in a while, like get it out of his system.
Oh, let me tell you what. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger needs to be just embarrassed. I mean, he got embarrassed. I mean, he didn't just get hit in the face; he got punched out.
Well, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You guys like that are going to eventually They're how would you say? They invite that kind of play.
Yeah.
They just invite that kind of play. The one I was shocked at, and I didn't see too much of it, I was just following it, the Cincinnati Bengals against the Bills.
Holy cow.
31-7 they were leading. 31-7, and the Bills scored 6 straight touchdowns.
That is just unbelievable.
Now, I don't know what happened. I don't know. Lewis, there's got to be problems down there. Lewis was supposed to be a defense guru and everything like that, and I just don't know what happened.
It boggles the mind. They have lost 7 straight games. This is a team that a lot of experts picked for the Super Bowl, Sal.
Last year they went 6-0 in their own division. They won their division. It was 6-0 in their division.
And they haven't lost any of those players.
Oh, but they got T.O.
They've only added players. They've added Pac-Man Jones, and they added T.O. Am I not mistaken?
Right.
So they've only added to a secondary that was already dominant. They've added to a receiving core that was a lot of people thought was the one, top-tier receiving core in the league. And they lose 7 straight games. They fall to 2-7. No, 2-8. Sorry. They are completely eliminated from any playoff hopes. It is could you imagine being a fly on the wall in that locker room after that game, Sam?
Oh, terrible. Terrible.
It's got to be a complete, utter meltdown. I'm surprised I have not heard anything out of Bengals camp for the firing of Marvin Lewis, who I like.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you do with that? Do you blow it completely up? Are you getting rid of players? Or are you finally, does Mike Brown finally hire a GM?
Well, that's probably part of the issue too. I mean, getting a GM who's just dedicated to player personnel and running the team. That's where I think that's a big part of it.
And what kills me is people that claim that they're Bengals fans.
Toll-free call.
Don't even know that. Stand by 1 second, Sal.
Okay.
Joe Contino Show. Hello. Sal, you with us?
Yes.
Sorry about that, folks. That was a toll-free call, evidently, calling into the station. You're listening to the Joe Contino Show. We're talking to Sal Leonetti, recapping the disappointments of yesterday, those being Sal's New York Giants, my Cleveland Browns, and those of you out there's Cincinnati Bengals.
The one thing I miss out here is that this morning I would love to see the newspapers in New York, what they do to the Giants today.
Oh, you think they're going to tear them apart, huh?
And they will really, I just wonder the headlines. I'll call it my brother, get what they said. And they do it on a day that the Jets become heroes for another week.
I was just going to say, are the Jets the Golden Boys now?
Oh, yeah,
in the
without
Big
a doubt. The Jets will be the Golden Boys. Even before the season started, the one thing about Ryan, he should be a / publicist. He's not a coach, so he really talks them up. And the Giants were saying they were glad to be flying under the radar. It was nice, not getting the pressure, coming over a very mediocre season where they lost. They were 5-0, and then it turned out to be 8-8 at the end of the year. It was nice going into without the pressure. Then the Giants won 5 straight, and then all of a sudden, 2 weeks ago, the Giants were arguably the best team in the NFL. I didn't feel that way.
A lot of people would have agreed with you, Sal. A lot of people on the NFL Network, on ESPN analysts, a ton of people would have agreed with that statement. A lot of people picked them. Adam Schefter was talking about.
Yeah, but something. If I see them. There's the weaknesses that people don't see. That fumbleitis, I said, and even in the game they beat Dallas, at the end they fumbled twice, and if Dallas, they allowed them to get back into the game. I said, there's something. I said, those fumbles are going to cost them in games that are closer. They're lucky they've had big leads and they fumbled and it didn't show up. And now it's really starting to show up and hurt them. Yeah. I don't know what it is. The two, supposedly the 2 best players at the important positions.
And now the Joe Contino Show on Bexley Public Radio.